Hey comrade, DC Russ here, Align Mentality. Wanted to talk to you today about judgment. So, here you are. If you're anything like me, you have some things that you want. You're very aware of these things that you want. You have goals. You have dreams. You might have a vision. Nevertheless, there's a certain thing that you want. And that thing could be something material, could be something circumstantial, could be just a lifestyle that you want. If you want something, whatever it is, it's going to take time. Anything that is desirable that a person can achieve usually is going to take time, effort, energy, persistence, resources. And if you want something bad enough, you'll focus on doing everything you can to try to get it. I mean, it makes sense. But humans aren't logical creatures, you see. Humans are emotional creatures. And we've been trained in a world, in a society, global society, wherever you're from, doesn't really matter. If you're from Earth, you've been trained to have emotions that are not really productive to the kind of life that you want or the things that you want in that life. All right? So you got to retrain your mind. You've got to retrain it. And that's really hard. It's really hard when you can see something so clearly and it just makes so much sense to you that in order to really focus and put all of your energy into the life that you want, you're going to have to exert an enormous amount of effort to see something that you don't currently see. I've never met a formal social discourse that advocates seeing things that you don't currently see as a life strategy for improving your well-being, your existence, your consciousness, your achievement. I've never heard of that. I think, and to be fair, I haven't really been a whole lot of places, all right? But at least in my country, in America, we're taught to be very logical. We're taught to look at things on the surface level. Judgment, whether it's gossip or spite or hatred or any type of judgment, whether it's toward a person or toward an event or toward an institution, anything, no matter what you're pointing it at, judgment of anything is ultimately flawed logic. But we tend to hold on to it. We tend to hold on to our judgments. And our judgments keep us stuck, okay? And that's not only our bad judgments, all right? I'm not trying to shame you for being a bad person right now, because everybody judges. And if you don't currently have the life that you want and you judge a lot, that's actually really great news, because now you know that if you can stop judging and retrain your mind to be more judgment free, then now you have a lever that you can manipulate in order to start getting more of the things that you want in your life. So it's really actually pretty great news. But I'm just here to talk to you today about the fact that judgment really isn't a very smart thing. All right, it might seem very smart, but when you really take a step back from everything, when you judge someone or you judge something, that's saying that pretty much you have a complete understanding of the situation. And you don't. Because if you had a complete understanding of the situation, you'd probably have love and compassion in your heart for whatever it is that you're judging. I am telling you this now, comrade, because I've just recently gotten off of a pretty intense period of judgment toward people that have come into my life. And I see the way that they live their lives. And I see what they're doing. And I see them making the same mistakes over and over and over. And I see the same situations playing out in their lives over and over and over. And it's frustrating. And it's annoying. And I have a judgment that they're idiots, or that they don't know what they're doing, or that they're messing up their life or their kid's life. And I have all these judgments about things that I don't really actually know about. And let's just say for a second I really am right about, okay, that guy's a fool because he can't control his anger, and his anger is causing him to get fired from his jobs, and he's complaining about not having enough money, and yet he can't go and get a job and keep it because he can't keep his mouth shut and just put his head down and do his job and do it well. That's an idiot. That's a fool, right? Logically speaking, hell yeah. Don't associate with that guy. Don't talk to that guy. Don't listen to anything that guy says. Get far away from him and do the exact opposite of what he's doing, right? That's a judgment. But here's the thing. Here's where it breaks down. The fact that I'm judging him probably means that somewhere, somehow in my life, in my past, in my day-to-day existence, I'm doing something very similar. That's why I can see it. All right, you can see everything out here is a reflection somehow of what's within. All right, you don't have to believe that or not. Whether you believe that or not, it's up to you. But it's a great way to live life. It's a good way to calibrate yourself to reality. All right, because reality is kind of really, nobody really knows how it works anyway. But the main reason why my judgments toward this other person are wrong is because I can't see the whole picture. And even if I could, I'm not taking it into consideration. All right, let's consider the fact that I didn't have the shitty childhood that he had. All right, mine was pretty decent. It was all right. I didn't have a deadbeat parent that didn't love me and didn't hug me. All right, I had those things in my life. That's huge. All right. I had people, mentors, teachers, every kind of guidance that you can have. They came into my life and blessed me. I've gotten so much free wisdom, inspiration, understanding, perspective from spiritual teachers and guides that have come into my life. It's insane. I don't know why, but I'm going to do my best to use that. So he didn't have that, all right? He didn't have a model of somebody in his life that was disciplined. He told me the other day, Dustin, you're going on these runs every day, and my son sees you. He sees you out there running. He says, there goes Dustin again on his run, and it makes me feel bad because I want him to see me doing things like that. Can I come on the runs with you? So I started inviting him on the runs. He's coming on the runs with me. All right? He says to me, I haven't met anybody in my life. The guy's 32 years old. All right? I haven't met anybody in my life who has inspired me to be a better person, to be a better man. Those are his words. So I'm really glad that I had the resources that I had, that I can be a person who does incredible things, who works towards self-actualizing, who focuses on improving himself as a person. And I'm even glad that I can share that inspiration with other people. All right? My point is, this guy, he didn't have half the shit that I had. He doesn't have a college degree. He didn't even really do good in school. His parents probably didn't teach him anything. I mean, there's just so many experiences that he had that I didn't have, and vice versa. To the point where, if I'm really just being honest, if I were him, I'd be doing the same thing. I'd be doing the same thing he's doing if I were him. If I had his experiences, if I had his thoughts, his perceptions, his biochemistry, his prenatal development, his parents, his school, his teachers, his house. I mean, you could go on and on and on and on and on. That's why judgment's stupid. Judgment's stupid because it's pretending like I know everything about that guy. And it's also pretending that I basically am that guy because I would act like this if I were him. I would do this if I were him. But you wouldn't. If you were him, you'd be him and you'd be doing the thing that he's doing, right? So it's stupid. It doesn't make any sense. All right? On a high level, it's just completely illogical. But we see things on a very localized, logical level. It's like, let's take the laws of physics. Any physics 101 class you take in high school, you roll a ball and there's friction and blah, blah, blah. That Newtonian model of physics works pretty much every localized experience that we have in our lives, all right? I mean, even like a car crash that's really complex, there's a lot of things going on. If you wanted to, you could really hash it out and calculate that physics, right? It would probably make sense. We can calculate the speed of galaxies that we can't even see, I mean, you can use math and physics to figure out so much about our experience, and it's like almost unbreakable. I mean, it's so reliable that we can run a computer and I could sit here and talk to you and I could do it over and over and over and over and over. And it's pretty much going to function the same way every time, all right? So when you look at things locally, it makes perfect sense. The logic is so strong. But when you consider like physics, for example, and you zoom all the way in, and you start getting into subatomic particles, and you zoom all the way out, and you start getting into superclusters and supermassive black holes, all of a sudden the physics starts to break down, okay? And even the most intelligent people, mathematicians and physicists that have ever lived and that are currently living still, really don't have any idea. They think, okay, now we're talking about particle physics. Okay, we gotta switch to a whole new deck here because everything that we know now doesn't really hold water to that. And I'm not going to get into that. It's called quantum physics. Go Google it. Go watch a YouTube video, intro on quantum physics. It's really crazy. So as soon as you step out of your little bubble, of your little comfort zone of familiarity, all of a sudden the rules that you thought were true start to break down. So what does that say? It says you could be as logical as you want as long as it helps you to function on that local level, but you got to realize that the logic you're using is not all encompassing and that there's a higher level that you can look at things from. And when you look at things like that, all of a sudden the things you're looking at start to change. So what does that mean? It means you really don't know what the hell's going on. All right. So judgment is just such a limited form of logic that if it helps you get out of bed in the morning, great. If your judgment allows you to wake up to your alarm, see what time it is, say, okay, I got a half hour to be where I need to be. So that means I'm going to eat breakfast, have a cup of coffee, and head out. If that judgment helps you on your day, great. But if that judgment holds you back, then why wouldn't you just choose something else? It's really simple. It ain't easy. No, it's not easy. I had to get so sick and tired of judgment that it literally started hurting like I was poisoning myself. Like, there's people out there that drink a lot of soda, or diet soda. God forbid, they'll drink diet soda. It's got aspartame in it, doesn't actually make you lose weight, doesn't keep you thin, it just poisons you anyway. They love that stuff, right? And they drink it every day. And all of a sudden, you get to a point where you're so sick and tired of poisoning yourself that you want to change, you're tired of being unhealthy, you're tired of being fat, whatever it is, you stop drinking the poison, okay? And once you stop drinking the poison and you give it some time, you start giving your body what it really wants, water, and you go back to that shit, it's like, this ain't that good. I don't know why I used to drink all this. So you got to get to a point where, first of all, recognize that judgment is holding you back. All right? It's not good for your soul. And if you don't believe me, do some judging, do some shit talking, get some gossip going, and do it all the way. All right? Notice how it feels kind of good at first, like, yeah, they don't even know, man. Yeah, stupid. Yeah, feels kind of good, right? But it also feels a little like, ugh, right? Keep doing it. Do it like chug that diet soda, man. Just get that in you. Do that for a while, and you tell me how you feel. You're gonna feel angry. You're gonna feel maybe some anxiety. You're gonna feel like a disturbance just in your body. And if you don't feel those things, it's probably because you're numb to them. All right. So start to focus on the changes. Be conscious with yourself, with your mind and your body. Try to look at what happens in your life when you go and interact with the person you've been judging. What happens in your life when you go and interface with that situation that you've been judging? Does it get better? Has it ever gotten better? It's not. It hasn't. It won't. It can't. It can't. Judging is not good for you. It takes your focus. All right? Here I am. I'm focusing on what I want. Here I am judging. Okay? You can't look at two things at once. I want to run a marathon, but that guy's an asshole. You can't do both. You got to pick one or the other. You know? Unless your judgment of him being an asshole helps you run the marathon, which I guess it could, then you're splitting your focus and you're diverting it down a path that's not going to get you the things that you want to have in your life. So that's why judgment's not productive. It takes your focus. It controls your emotions. It makes you feel bad. It hurts the other person whether you know it or not. And if you don't believe in the whole woo-woo, vibes or waves of quantum waveforms flying over there, believe this. Spend all day talking shit about somebody. Just spend all day doing it. And then go talk to that person. And you tell me if it doesn't feel different. Right? If you spend all day, even if they don't hear you, and you just get done saying bad things about them and you go talk to them, it's going to feel different. You might feel a little bit guilty. All right? And that guilt is going to manifest in your interaction. It's not going to be something that you can put words to, but it's going to be noticeable, and it starts to seep its way in to your relationship with that person. All right? So that's why I say you got to live a pure life. Pure in your thoughts. Judgment happens, man. We all judge. Forgive yourself and just try not to judge. That's all you got to do. Forgive yourself. Don't beat yourself up. But get to a point where you're starting to become conscious and aware of how it's impacting your life. All right? And so far we've talked about bad judgment. And there's good judgment too. All right? Good judgment is when you see something, maybe it's a sign, and you're like, whoa, it's a sign. That's so cool. And then maybe it doesn't pan out the way that you thought it was going to pan out. Or maybe something really amazing happens and ended up turning out to be something sour. Okay? We all have had these experiences, whether it's relationships, whether it's getting into a certain school or getting a new job. I mean, we've all had experiences that we were totally stoked about. And then when it came down to it, all of a sudden that experience seemed like it turned itself against us. And when that happens, it's very easy to get bitter. All right? It's easy for me at least. And I get bitter all the time. I'm like, yo, what the hell, universe? Or come on, God? Or why does this happen to me? Is it because of my karma? I tried so hard. I did everything I could, and it turned out shitty. But then this last time, I didn't try at all, and then it worked out great. Like, you would think you would reward me for hard work and, blah, blah, blah. Or maybe you do something nice for somebody, and it feels really good, and they're like, oh, thank you. And then that person comes and steals from you. The person you just helped came behind your back and stole from you. Right? They took some of your stuff, and they lied about it. And that's, when it comes to people doing shady things, I'm sure most of us here have experienced trying to help somebody, try to be nice to somebody, and it just blows up in their face. It kind of makes you want to question your own existence. It kind of makes you want to question God, or be like, hey, what's that all about? Or hey, I've been working really, really hard for 20 years. How come I don't have what I want? All right. So whether it's something that happens in just a couple seconds or something that's been happening your whole life, your judgment of the situation is helping to perpetuate the situation you don't want. And I know that's a hard thing to accept, especially if you feel like you're trapped in a certain place, or with a certain person, or in a certain mindset, or a certain situation. It's really hard to accept that that situation isn't bad, and that it's your judgment that's making it bad. And it's really hard to accept that when something good happens to you, that there's a really good chance that it could turn out to be something bad. But there really is no bad or good. That's a really hard thing to wrap your mind around. It's not going to be easy. You were told your whole life there's bad and good, there's good versus evil, there's bad emotions, good emotions. You've been told and programmed in a way that has dualism built into your thinking. Good and bad, black and white, up and down. That's how we're programmed. I don't know why, but that's pretty much how everything functions, on and off, yes and no, and if you want to think like that, you're going to constantly be in this dichotomy of good and bad your whole life. And just to kind of bring all this together, you might have heard a story of the Chinese farmer. I don't know if there's a name to the story, but as far as I know, the Chinese farmer. So there was a Chinese farmer, and he had some horses. He had like 5 horses, right? And one day, all of his horses broke through the stable and got out and ran away. Oh my God, I needed those horses. Those were my livelihood. That's how I plowed my grain. That's how I blah, blah, blah. Needed those horses. They went away. And then all the neighbors came over to mourn with him and say, hey, that's really awful. I'm so sorry that you lost your horses. That's just so bad. That's so terrible. The farmer just said, well, good or bad, I don't know. The next day, all those horses came back. And not only did they come back, but they brought with them 5 other horses. So now the farmer says, I got 10 horses. And the neighbors come over to celebrate. That's awesome. Oh my God, what an amazing turn of events. Now you have 10 horses. Wow. Isn't that so great? And the Chinese farmer just says, good or bad, I don't know. So the next day, his son is breaking in the new horses and training them and getting them ready to go. He climbs on one of them. It bucks. He falls off, breaks his leg. And the neighbors come over. Oh, that's terrible. That's horrible. So terrible. What a bad thing. And the Chinese farmer, even though that was his own son, said, well, good or bad, I don't know. The next day after that, the military comes in. There's a war being fought. And the draft has just been initiated, and they're coming to collect all young, able-bodied men to go fight in the war. It's a mandatory draft. But when they saw the young man with the broken leg, they said, okay, you can't come because you're injured and you're not going to be able to fight. And then they left. All the neighbors come over. Wow, what great fortune. See how it ended up turning out? So it seemed like the story ended on a great note, right? Like everything was really great. Okay, so he broke his leg, but look, now he doesn't have to go to war and possibly die. That's amazing, right? Chinese farmer in all his wisdom says, good or bad, I don't know. I don't know. All right? Everybody wants to focus on knowing. You gotta know. You gotta discern. You gotta be smart. Some of the times in my life when I was the most smart, the most discerning, the most careful, did the most due diligence are the times that led to my greatest suffering. Big suffering from times when I used my brain and I knew. All right? You don't know. You don't know what's going to happen to you tomorrow, much less what's going to happen to that guy tomorrow. You don't know anything, really. So why are you going to sit there and run this story through your head that judgment is somehow a valid form of knowledge, wisdom, or understanding or perspective on anything? It really doesn't make any sense on a very high level. On a low level here, yeah, okay, it makes sense. If I knock this water over, there will be water on my floor. So, use it where it's applicable to your life. But always keep in the back of your mind, question your judgments. Is it really true? Is it absolutely true? Is there anything else that could be true? And I'm not saying to just give people the benefit of the doubt all the time and let them walk all over you, or not get out of a situation if it's not good for you. That's the thing about judgment, is you don't know. You don't know. And if you're stuck in a place in your life where you have to make a decision and you don't have the answers, then just make a decision. Just make a decision. Just do it. Whatever you think you should do, whatever your gut tells you. If you don't know, if you can't feel your gut, you're not going to feel it by overanalyzing the situation, so you might as well just pick something, flip a coin. It's just whatever road you go down, there's always another road that you can choose. You can always go down a different road. So I want to leave you with one final thought. I think I covered everything I wanted to cover. My last thought, just to tie everything together, at the beginning of this monologue, I started talking about a vision, a goal, something you want, and how judgment is counterproductive. Both bad and good judgment is counterproductive to your goal. I'm not saying don't judge, but be aware that your judgments are probably wrong, or at least you don't know if they're right. And so let's get back to the goal. Let's get back to the vision. Let's get back to the thing that you want. If you're like me, you want something. You want something in your life. And the way to get that something is to state what it is that you want. And if you're not clear, get clear. Whether it takes 10 minutes or 10 years, continue getting clearer and clearer about what it is that you really want. Dig deep on it. How do you want to feel? What is it like? Find out what it is you want. It doesn't matter what it is. And then take a step. Take a step to get there. It doesn't have to be the right step. It doesn't have to even be a good step. Maybe everybody, your whole family, all your friends, everybody's telling you it's a bad step. Remember, the judgment is not necessarily true. It doesn't matter if it's a good step, a bad step, a right step, a wrong step, or a misstep. Take a step, whatever it is. Any step, any tiny step that gets you one tiny step closer to the thing that you want. Any step, any small step. It doesn't have to be something you can measure, that you can mark off a to-do list or mark off a calendar. It could just be a change of a couple words in your mind about how you talk about the thing that you want. It could be any small step. Take a step, and then here's the key. Here's what my mentor taught me. Be aware of the changes that come from that. That's it. Be aware of the changes. Once you take that step, stuff's going to change. Whether you think it changes for the bad or for the good is not your job to judge. All you need to do is take the step and notice the changes. And if you do, and you see the changes, and you see what resulted from taking that step, not only are you closer to that thing that you want, even though it might seem you're further away, but also you have succeeded because you took a step and you saw the result. And now you can calibrate accordingly and plan your next step, whether it's good or bad, right or wrong. Take a step and then be very still. Listen, pay close attention. Because when you want something and you start out on that journey to go get it, things are going to change. Your reality is going to change. Perception is going to change. Conditions are going to change. People are going to change. It's all going to change. It's crazy. So take that step. Don't judge it as good or bad. And then just see what happens. And then when you see what happens, don't judge it as good or bad. Just say, okay, that's what happened because I took that step to getting what I want. Now it's time to take the next step. That's all you have to do, comrade. That's all you got to do. Take a step toward what you want and then see the changes that occur. Be ready for the changes because they're coming. Be ready for the changes, all right? But don't judge those changes as good or bad. Just take another step. And that is how you get what you want. And every time you catch yourself judging, just realize that the judgment is counterproductive for you having the life that you want to live. And hey, we're only here for a short amount of time. Don't you want to have a good life? Don't you want to have a life that's worth living? No time for judgment. We got no time. We got no time for judgment. We got no energy for judgment. We got no time. All right? We don't need it. Whew. Let it go. Let it go. That's what forgiveness is. I talk so much about forgiveness because one of my greatest spiritual teachers in my life always told me about forgiveness. I was a young man. I was 15 when I met him, and he died when I was 25, 26 maybe, so about 10 years. I knew him for about 10 years. And he talked to me about forgiveness all the time. And for 10 years, I asked him what forgiveness was. I tried to practice it. I tried to do it. He said, you don't have to mean it. You just do it. You just forgive it. Whether you mean it or not, just do it. Don't judge if you're doing it right or doing it wrong. Just do it. And that really simplified things for me. But it wasn't until he died when he left a note for me in his will to have his wife mail to me. And in that note, he says, you're ready now for me to tell you the true nature of forgiveness. The true nature of forgiveness is not an action at all. It's not something you do. Because in order to do forgiveness, you must first have the recognition that somebody did something wrong. That person wronged me, and so therefore I do forgive them. I forgive them. It's an action. It's not that at all, he said. He said, the true nature of forgiveness is not even having recognized that the error occurred to begin with. Forgiveness is not an action, therefore is a state of mind in which you cultivate a perception that nothing is actually wrong. There is no judgment to begin with. You don't judge something as good. You don't judge something as bad. And then you don't forgive it because that's just another form of judgment. Forgiveness is a learned state of mind that you can get in by constantly staying the course. What do I want? How do I want to feel? What kind of person do I want to be? And every time you get a little bit like, oh, it's because they crashed the economy. Well, it's because of Donald Trump. Well, if that guy wasn't such an idiot, bring it back. Bring it back. All right? Let the small things go. Even if they're big things, let them go. Stop judging them as bad. Stop hating them. Stop adding energy to that. Stop saying, okay, that sucks. That's bad, but I forgive it. Just stop all of it. just get rid of the judgment by every time you start to feel yourself going over there, come back. Every time you feel that welling up inside of you, just let it go. Let it go. Just don't even pay attention to it. Just let the judgments go. You don't have time for it. You don't have time for it, my friend. You don't have time for it. Just let it go. Be in the state of forgiveness. The state of forgiveness, really on an ultimate level, is, I don't know. That's all it is. I don't know. It's a judgment-free zone in your mind that will breed clarity to help you see where you need to go in order to get what you want. And the beautiful thing about getting what you want is now you can help other people get what they want. If enough of us do this, you're changing the world. You're changing the whole world. And it starts with you, man. Starts with you. Starts with me. Judgment of any kind is only keeping you stuck. It's only keeping you miserable. And it's only keeping you unhappy without having the thing or things or lifestyle that you want. It's really that simple. So this isn't rocket science. This isn't law of attraction. Woo, yeah. This isn't hippie stuff here. This is like, hello. When my attention goes over there, my attention's there now. Is that what I want? Do I want that over there? No, then put my attention back to where I want it. What about that, though? Who cares? Let it go. I got other things I got to do. That is the ultimate strength. That is the ultimate power. A man can conquer a beast. A man can conquer a city. A man can conquer an entire nation. But the strongest man is the man that conquers himself, okay? Same with woman, same with whatever you identify with. It doesn't really matter. I'm just illustrating a point that the hardest thing for a human being to do is to conquer their own mind. Take control of their own mind and not judge anything as good or bad, but only have a sense of clarity and direction and focus and purpose for what it is that you want to have in your life. And if somebody else judges that as bad, then just disregard it. There's no reason you need to listen to that. What you want is what you want, and you can get what you want. And the way that you make that easier is you stop judging things. And if you are judging things, don't judge yourself for judging things. Just let it go. You don't need it. You don't need it. Focus on what you want. That's all you need to do. Help the people that in your life that come your way. It's really that simple. If a baby's crying, pick up your baby. You know, if you see somebody who's cold and you got an extra jacket, you give them the jacket. You know, if you need to empty the trash, you just pick the trash up and you empty the trash. If the trash guy doesn't pick up your trash, then you say, okay, well, I got to figure out where I'm going to put this trash until the next time the trash guy comes. There's no reason to have any other dialogue about the things that are happening. And obviously, my friend, this is way easier said than it is done. Obviously, all right? That's the thing you don't hear people saying is like, they talk all this good game and like they got it all figured out. Like it's really easy. I ain't got it figured out, man. I'm telling you, I just got done judging like a freaking hurricane over here, man. You just gotta practice. Forgiveness is a cultivated, learned state of being. It's a state of mind. Practice. Practice. Every time something happens, just overlook it. Just let it go. You don't need to hold on to it. All you need to do is respond in a way. If something needs you to respond, you just do it. You just do the thing that needs your attention, and that's it. If you want something in life, you just do it. You just do the thing that's going to get you closer. And it might take you a long time. And there's going to be a lot of judgment along the way. But I'll tell you what, for every time you tell yourself, hey, you know, I'm not going to judge, I'm going to let it go this time, you're getting yourself even closer. You are expediting your process, and you're making life a whole lot easier for yourself and everybody else that's around you. So that's really all I got. I mean, if it don't get any more simple than that, man, I don't know what will. Like, that is, boom, that is the simplest, most straightforward analysis on why judgment doesn't work and why you can have a better life without it. I mean, how does it get any more straightforward than that? All right. And yeah, it's hard. And yeah, you're going to leave this video. You probably had about 1 million judgments just in the course of this video, but you stuck with it. You hung in there. You stuck with me. You heard what I had to say, and I hope it helped your life. I hope it helped lots of people's lives. And I'm gonna keep doing my part when I close this computer up. I'm gonna do my part. I gotta wake up tomorrow, and I gotta start a new day where I gotta practice not judging. I gotta practice focusing only on the things that I want to have in my life, for my family and for my brethren and for my planet. That's my job. And consider this video, in a weird, abstract, digital kind of way, my passing the torch to you. All right? I still got the torch. I got plenty of them. I'll be passing these things out like candy. All right? But now you got a torch. Now you got the light. Now you take that and you go give it. The light was given to me. Now I'm giving it to you. You take that and you go give it to somebody else. That's all I got to say. Check me out, alignmentality.com. DC Russ here. Stay strong, be bold, and remain judgment free. You'll see good things coming your way. Take care now.